Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Proud Lame, certified beta male, simmer and giant, whatever it is, no game. The socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, speaking at your service. This following episode contains graphic content that could be uncomfortable to some viewers, that could be like disheartening, not safe for work, that type of ordeal. It could offend some viewers in some way. Without any intent at all. It could be strong language, it could be basically strong graphic scenes, however it may be. There will be an E that's actually placed onto the top label up on the YouTube set, and it can basically require either views for either minimum 13 up, or in some cases, depending on YouTube's policy, it could be 18 up or however it may be. Please take notice before we get on with the presentation. Alright? Viewer discretion advised. Now let's get back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Proud Lane, certified super beta male, simp man, Jana, whatever it is, no game. The socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, is in the building. And what we are going to be talking about is the second form of the iron pumper, right? The power lifter, the hardcore weightlifter, the bodybuilder, right? Another form of getting yourself shredded, right? To be an iron pumper form, to be a professional moisturizer. No, that's what we're actually discussing right here, and what we are actually digging into are short clips of some of the videos of Authentic Alphas, best known as content creator Ian Gordon. Huge shout out to him, by the way. We're gonna dig into some of his workout techniques on how he has the lean body that he has today. I don't think I need too much of an explanation. Well, may give some explanation as we go along. This right here is your personal trainer. He is a professional bodybuilder. He is a professional athlete. You know what I mean? He has a certification when it comes to personal training, physical therapy, the whole, not even physical therapy, pardon my language, pardon my wording, by the way, but certified personal training when it comes to certain body groups, the whole 9 yards. He has like total full intellect on this. And I've been trained by a bodybuilder related to his stature when I was actually going for my PG contendership in DC. So I can relate to some of what he's doing. Alright, so let's get right into it.
Welcome back, Get Fit fam. Authentic Alphas in the building. Here with my boy right here, one of Mexico's up and coming. His coach is actually a good friend of mine, so he's getting ready for a competition here in Mexico. So his coach asked me to help him, with a couple of areas that he wants to improve. So basically today we're working on back, because I feel like back is one of the areas that he needs to bring up the most. So isn't going to be too much dialogue in this video. I might kind of voice over it a little.
Let's go skip some stuff up there and let's go straight to the workouts of what they're doing. You're seeing some of the angles that they have up here, ladies and gentlemen.
In his poses. All right, so that's
the poses
our
when it
goal.
comes to powerlifting. We'll skip some of that. So the back weights, what they're doing, we're going to show you certain moves of what they're actually doing right here. Okay, and I'm not a power lifter or anything like that. I'm not a personal trainer.
Do you want to earn more views?
However it may be, I'm not a bodybuilder.
More subscribers.
I try to do this to try and calm my nerves down. Me personally, because I've seen these things before. I've done them over the years. So what Allende and basically his client are doing, they're basically doing like wide rows with like a free bar on an incline, right? A 45-degree incline where you place your legs down that little rested paddle up there. And you use that to try and rest yourself up and try and maintain the back. So we'll see what they'll do here. They get themselves set up. And you see and they helping them. So now you watch the gentleman try to pull himself up. Right? Boom. Back row. 1. Boom. Another one. And if I'm not mistaken, he literally lifting like about 145 pounds with his back. That is no joke. 3. You basically grip your hands Why where that little line is, you're trying to make sure you're in shoulder length. So this is what they're doing right here. Now in Allende's case, he goes in, does the same thing. Wind the grip. 1. Have a little stretch. 2. Another back row. 3. Get the maximum intensity you can and actually work all your muscles in. 4. Alright. And now I'm going to skip this solo deal. Have the weightlifting, get yourself stretched out. Try to make sure the back gets stretched a bit. Round 2 is going to be the same. You're basically going to be doing the same stuff up there. Now, what Allende is doing here, right? They're basically doing back raises, right? Half deadlifts, right? Where you actually stretch the muscles out. You're not doing traps of any form. You're basically doing like a basically half deadlift. So you basically work your upper body in the back part of your upper body, right? 1. And you do a shoulder lift, boom. 2. Half deadlifts. 2. Right? 3. And you definitely need a back brace for this. Otherwise, you will injure your back. You will be at risk for herniated disc problems, back problems to lead down the line, or chronic back problems for the rest of your life. You try to extend the back. Right? Extend the back. You do your little shrugs as well and then pull all the way back. Right? So that's what they're basically doing here. And you see some of his motions? 1. Drop down. Back it up. 2. Drop down. Right? Again, all popping up. Now we deal with another weightlifting that they have here, where they're basically trying to do tricep dips. Actually, no, not really triceps. I'm wrong. I see what he's doing. Tricep, yeah. Tricep pulls. Basically work the tricep. Basically get the curls in. 1. Get it extended. Tricep extensions. And then he has to be doing some stretching as well. As you see, they're trying to prep up for a bodybuilding competition. Let it down the line. Tough to do. Very tough to do. Right? Now let's get a break from this guy here. We're going to go to another video on how they work the legs out. Alright, now we are focusing on how he works out his quads. We're not going to actually take too long in this. Get them all flexed up. So, I'm going to skip through some of the explanations that he does. Right? And let's see if we can try and get some examples on how he sets it up here.
Shut the fuck up. There's no way to do any of that dumb shit. It's always going to be about work and consistency. The thing is that you don't want to be spending the time doing things that are less effective, and you don't want to be going hard on movements that aren't even necessary, right? So for example, the heavy, hard squats, they are necessary for certain key elements, but not going to get you all of the results that you're going to want. I mean, going heavy in general, you have to understand why you're going heavy and what you're trying to accomplish by it, and then also what's going to be the negative effect of that. So everything, you have to find the balance that's going to work best. So I'm going to try to help you guys at least get started. Like I said, this is quads for beginners, but I don't care where you are in quads, I guarantee you're going to learn something that you didn't know. All right? So like the damn video right now. Yes, like the video. Share it with somebody that got skinny legs, and let's get cracking. All right, so one of the key things that we're gonna learn today is that this upright position for the seat all the way up here, giving you this upright 90-degree angle type thing going on. It's only optimal for a certain portion of the quad, which is closer to the kneecap, right around the teardrop area. Other than that, it's actually limiting your quad development. So what you want to do is you want to push this all the way back as far as it will go, depending on what model machine you're working with. Some go back further than others. Some even come off. The old school ones, you could take this off completely, which is awesome if you can. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to somewhat get a similar position to that of a sissy
quad
squat,
extension,
where your waist and your core is going to be in line parallel with the femur, right, with your thigh bone, right? A lot of people think that you want that bend in the hip, but you actually don't. Now, when you're leaned back, what's going to happen is you're going to stimulate the quads from all the way up here. You're still going to get that teardrop activation as you contract at the top, but you're going to start pulling from way up here, all right? Which is what you want if you want overall quad development and if you want functionality. Now, the next thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is where this thing is set. Now, quick tip that pretty much applies to every part of the body. The muscles respond better and you get more development and more growth when the muscle is trained in a stretch position. Pay attention, you'll understand what I'm trying to say.
Fully.
For example, tricep pull down. This is the position in which the tricep is lengthened out. The thing is, it's not fully lengthened out on a pull down. Now, if you did an overhead, the tricep is in a full stretch position. It's fully lengthened out. And what I mean by stretch is not that it's just straightened out. I mean that there's some type of weight. There's some type of weight on it, some type of tension, pushing it and pulling it into that stretched position, right? So there's obviously tension on it. So what I'm saying is, if I'm sitting here like this, yes, my quad is lengthened out, but there's no tension on it. So what I want is I want tension here pulling it so that it's pulled into a stretched position. That's what I mean by trained in a stretched position.
Understood.
So you want to put this thing all the way back, right? So that there's tension already there. The next thing that you want to do, and this is part of being able to lean back fully, is you want to put your ass above your heels. Now when I lean back, guess what? My quads are in a stretch position with tension on them, and I'm also leaned back. All right, so it's putting my torso more in line with my femur.
Yeah.
All right, and that's where I'm gonna pull from.
Boom. One.
So now I'm getting activation from way up here all the way to the teardrop, and also I'm training the muscle in a stretch position. As you see at the bottom here, it's already in a stretch position. I'm already feeling a stretch in my quads. The next thing is, as I increase weight, the more intense that stretch is gonna be. All right, so the last tip I'm gonna give you before I start this first set is after maybe your second or third set, you start getting a little warmed up, that's when you're gonna start stretching. You wanna implement the stretches because it's gonna maximize the growth potential. It's also gonna loosen up the fascia so that you can get a little bit more visible details. You can see more of the progress that you're making. So the stretching is important, but don't stretch before you work out. This is another like myth or other bad advice, to stretch before you work out. You don't want to stretch before you work out. You want to stretch after you've warmed up the muscle, all right? So after we get those...
Boom, okay. All right. Now let's go to another part of the whole deal when it comes to the legs. Let's dig more into that. All right, so we are focusing on the hamstring section here. Let's go skip through certain parts.
What's up, Get Fit fam? Welcome back to Authentic Alphas. I got my homie Keanu with me. I haven't seen this dude in forever, but I know him for 14 years, like 2008.
2008,
Yeah. So, mucho habla inglés, but we speak the same language. We speak the bodybuilding language. So today we hitting the hamstring.
Like the hamstring.
Yeah, we're gonna try some hamstrings. So basically another fitness tutorial. Probably not gonna do too much talking, too much explaining. My boy right here is another.
All right, so styles on hamstring extension, hamstring stretches.
All right, guys. So we're going with the seated leg curl as opposed to the more frequent laying leg curl.
Yep.
Few tips to note. Training a muscle in a stretch position, meaning providing weight or tension, pushing or pulling the muscle into a stretch position, will yield better results than not. So make sure to get that full stretch and then also full contraction. But the idea is to keep tension on the muscle the entire time. If you go too far up, obviously tension will be taken off of the hamstring. And if you pause too much down there at the bottom, also tension could be released. So let's keep that in mind. In between sets, a few is lengthening the muscle out, allows more blood flow to get in there so you can pump more blood into a muscle, which of course results in hypertrophy.
Boom.
Also stretching the muscle,
Keyword hypertrophy.
fascia. So for people that want more visible definition, it is definitely something to put in the arsenal. So keep the stretches between 20 and 30 seconds. As stretching the muscle too much, you will lose performance.
Now see what I need doing. He's basically trying to use his legs with free weight to create.
For the standing knee curl.
Okay.
No worries, you can always do what we're doing here, which is substitute with a leg extension machine, normally for quads obviously, by just making some quick adjustments, putting a plate or something to stand.
Now what they're doing,
Anywhere from 3 to 6 sets each depending on the movements. And let's get it.
Okay. We got that in order. Let's go pause it up. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to focus on is the chest to give some examples here. Let's try to see what he has to say. Let's go skip through some of this here.
Any amount of money that your bench press form is also garbage and that you're weak as hell in this movement. Therefore, I wouldn't recommend it to build chest, as it will take lots of time and lots of weight. I'm talking years and risky poundage that will probably result in an injury for those with improper form or without a full-time training partner to spot them. Today I'm going to give you 4 chest movements that are all safe and extremely effective. And right now I'm eating these damn donuts because for all my guys that are trying to get big and put on muscle, the muscle that grows is fast twitch, and that muscle feeds off of sugars and glucose. So processed sugar, which digests extremely quickly, is just a good idea to have before your workout. So it's nice and available in your bloodstream, feeding those fast twitch fibers so that you can push through some heavy, fast pushing, pressing, lifting, pulling, whatever the hell you're doing, and stimulate that muscle growth. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get ready to rumble. So the first movement that we're gonna do, not only to warm up, but just to get a nice little pump going, is some push-ups. But we're gonna do it with these dumbbells to allow us to get a little bit more of a range of motion, getting a little bit lower to the ground. More importantly, getting a nice stretch between the chest and the shoulder.
I was actually taught that by a personal trainer of mine up in the DMV area, where you use the dumbbells but they're using like a horizontal motion where you have to literally stretch the person all the way out, literally in a 45-degree angle, to get a full wide range motion of your chest. You're going to tire yourself out very quickly. Watch the space. Get you wrecked. Now, what I end is doing
3 sets of concentration push-ups.
There we go.
Pause
You
at the
want
bottom,
to use the concentration
as well as
grips.
pausing again at the top squeezing and holding all the tension from your body weight
Boom.
in the muscle fibers of your
Stretch it all
chest.
out.
Fuck your fashion. Green in my pocket.
Now he's using the bow.
Running all the racks, running like it's magic.
Incline flies.
Balling like the magic.
No joke. See what he got here.
With Bob Guider, Bob recalls revamping an old York Crusher, which with even 5 springs is not that hard to close. They took the springs off, however, and upgraded it by using the spring from an Oldsmobile engine, which have much greater tensile strength, and they tripled the size of the York Crusher and bolted it onto the wall of the Duncan gym, essentially creating a station for developing crushing strength and training the pectorals in a most unusual way.
Running all the racks, running like it's magic. Balling all these haters.
In all honesty, one could say that the dumbbell fly is a similar movement. However, it requires one to lay down and lift the bells in an arc-like fashion. However, it can't completely replicate the movement or the contractile feeling of a chest crusher, and I'll explain why. The closest exercise actually that I feel and feels like the chest crusher has to be the pec deck. Even so, because it is a machine, it doesn't let you get under the weight, so to speak, as you are sitting in a fixed position in a machine and you can't use your utmost strength in this movement. You're basically locked in a specific groove that is determined by the machine. On top of that, both the dumbbell fly and the pec deck can be dangerous when approaching maximum poundage, in that the extreme range of motion places the shoulder joint, pectoral and biceps tendon under extreme tension at their weakest positions. The chest crusher, although allowing you to use progressive resistance in the form of springs, doesn't have the extreme range of motion of the dumbbell fly or pec deck, and is therefore less dangerous in that respect. Further, it is a relatively small piece of equipment that is also portable, taking much less space in a gym than a pec deck machine. The fact that the chest crusher is
Andy's gonna be doing in
The
this
golden era bodybuilders, and one of their little special secret weapons was a device called the chest crusher. The thing is they go for about $350.
Ouch.
And they're often sold out, which would indicate that they actually work. And the guys that used them had some of the best chests of all time. Now I'm giving you an opportunity to simulate that movement using an abductor machine. All right, guys, pay attention, learn it, put it in the arsenal, because it's fire.
Hit your bitch up, now she sliding. Hit your bitch up, perfect timing. I'ma beat it like I'm Tyson. My whole deck good in a bison. Color hoes and color diamonds. My whole life I just be rhyming. Driving foreigns with no license. Watching air and fighting titans. You can't imagine.
Now he's doing the press.
I believe that every training session should consist of at least one exercise that allows you to safely overload. And for chest, we're gonna finish with this leg press machine, using it to imitate an incline bench press. Now, if you're familiar with the incline bench press, it's even riskier than the flat bench. It puts you in a very compromised position as far as your shoulders and your joints are concerned. And a lot of people tend to get hurt doing this with a ton of weight. Now, the sled itself of the leg press weighs 120 pounds, at least this particular leg press. I don't know about your gym, how much that sled weighs. It should tell you somewhere on the machine. The point is that you can increment the weight up to get to a maximum that you're able to push, all while having a safety step underneath the sled to protect you. Therefore, you will never get crushed. You will never have that weight come down on you. And guess what? You don't need a spot, so you can do this solo dolo, all independent, and that's what it is, guys. So that's pretty much it for this particular tutorial.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the bodybuilding iron pumper, the powerlifting iron pumper, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna leave it at that. We will actually discuss more about the roided iron pumper. We're going to actually try and analyze more of that in its thorough entirety and like a deeper perspective. And with the roided iron pumper, there's much more levels to it. Said this does not fully equal that all bodybuilders that automatically take roids, or the people that do take roids automatically die or do irresponsibly. We don't know. That's why I want to try and go at it like a very thorough and deeper approach with like further research on this whole ordeal. Right? So expect that video to come probably in the weeks ahead. Alright? Chris and Paul from the Nerd Chronicles is signing out. Good night.